So my first Open was, of course, Gwent Open #1, and we were at Gamescom.
Gwent Open #1 was a big deal. We had done Challenger, Mogwai and I, but now we were really starting the track towards Gwent Masters. So being able to be involved with Open in that first step was really exciting, but it was strange because we were so distant from the Gamescom tournament.
The interesting part was that we were working on production there, and we also had the casting team here in Warsaw. And we were trying to mix it all together. It was just crazy because like you have two separate entities and they're working on the same thing. And it was a lot of work, it was a lot of running around, a lot of stress.
We didn't really have good communication at all with the Gamescom side of things, so we kind of had to improvise at certain points, and syncing the narration was a little bit weird at times, but it was a very, very special event. I got to cast, Shaggy's dominance throughout the tournament, and I got to clap and yell at a wolf statue. It was a very complete experience overall, and a very good way to start things off.
Well, the first Open, to be honest, was kind of scary. I got the offer after casting Gwent Slam, so I had some experience, but casting with rehearsals and the whole production crew and CDPR kind of behind your back in a way was kind of intimidating. Merchant and Mogwai and McGear really helped me through that. First Open, trying to make it easy, and now I think I finally got into the flow with it, so it was better, but kind of scary at the start.
It wasn't until Gwent Open #2 and later on Challenger in which things started to get like a really good flow of the players coming in, the intro videos which evolved and evolved, and now we have Tailbot's genius videos every single time. But that very first one will always stick out to me, not just because it was the first event to really be casting from CD Projekt Red Studios here in the Gwent Tavern, because that was fantastic, but also afterwards, as I was leaving Warsaw, I happened to be going to Cologne, and I ran into the whole CD Projekt Red staff in the Warsaw airport, and we had a big hug, and I just remember that was the end of like the first big event, and the story that would go from there.
From that point on, I think we just grew and grew and went on and went crazy. And I mean, look at this place now. We have like a whole proper studio.
Well, I remember coming into CD Projekt Red Studios before we started doing the tournaments, and there was talk about this studio that was being built just for Gwent events, like Round of Gwent, the show, and of course the Gwent Opens as well. And then finally we'd see some videos here and there, but actually stepping foot into the studio, you really get this, what would you call this, a 3D studio, a very living studio. You can set the camera up at various different angles, and you can always see something really great. You've got the tavern in the back, you've got all the sorts of dusty swords and Witcher paraphernalia all over the place. Of course, the casting dust, which is always great. And a couple of lanterns and chandeliers that I've hit my head on a number of times. But generally, the feel of this place, the floorboards really creak. It really feels like it's a place that's been here for a while and it's seen a lot of battle.
We have like a smoke machine and we have all this awesome lighting.
Oh, I remember my first view of the Gwent studio very well. I remember entering through the door, gazing upon all the medievalness, and the first thought that came to mind was, oh my God, where are the toilets?
The studio is really cool. They have a lot of set dressing to make it feel very immersive. I mean, at the same time, you guys can't see all the technical side of things. So, like, there's a big sheet of fabric right here that you guys can't see, but where I am, it looks super cool. Like, I feel like I'm in a Renaissance kind of building. The set itself is really, really awesome, and I think one thing that CDPR does so well is their esports in terms of the appearance. They put a lot of value in the visuals, and I think you feel that as a viewer.
Well, the first time I came in here, I was like, holy, I mean, everything is so real. I mean, the wood is real, and the fireplace is not real, but still it was like, wow, how do we make this? Is this real? It looked like a cottage somewhere in Poland that was just, left behind. I remember we had termites here, which we needed to get rid of. We had mice, I think, here also. It was just crazy. And we got air conditioning like very, very late. So in the summertime, it was quite hot in here.
If you're talking about Gwent Opens and you're talking about funny, I think you have to mention Mogwai. He's a very interesting character, and I think for me, Challenger #2, when he mentioned Shaggy being in the finals and go Shaggy when Shaggy wasn't playing with Freddy, for me that was a moment where I'm like, Mogwai, what are you doing, my friend?
My favorite, rather amusing moment was perhaps in Gwent Open #1, actually, in which I basically combined two different words to describe a very impressive up-and-coming player in Shaggy. He was the wild card in the event.
I think this is quite the thematic matchup for the finals. Shaggy is the wild card competitor that got in here through the wildcard defeating Vaish and through a very rigorous process.
Yeah, Dane seemed to like it, I remember his reaction well.
Panda is a great co-caster. He's also really fun to bully. I think the other casters like to wind him up until he's like, stop, why are you doing that, guys, stop. And it's something that Merchant used to do, and I think we've carried forward as a casting pair. He also absolutely hates getting makeup, so if you want to wind him up, just be like, yeah, Panda, you got to go first for makeup. He's really, really easy to cast though. He's a fantastic caster, and he's really easy to work with and bounce off.
Funny moments. I had this one moment which I had to pause for a second because Super JJ, he won, but his expression was like, he seemed kind of mad but happy at the same time. It was one of the opens when he had Villain Tretemirth, but he still won, but the Villain Tretemirth did an awesome Scorch. And I remember him like reacting, going crazy. And when I first saw on the feed, like sitting behind with my earphones on, I was like, is he happy or is he mad? It's like, what happened there? And then I learned like, oh, okay, he won, so that's why he was so ecstatic. But I think that's a highlight. I like when players have this emotion that means that they really care about the game, and it really shows like they're, like all the emotions that, boil up inside them.
There's a lot of funny moments, but I want to just talk about one of my favorite moments. It was Huan Chi versus Andy Wand. I think it might have actually been on Huan Chi's birthday, where Andy Wand plays, he gets his Dragoon muzzled and then drops a card that no one had seen in a tournament before, a Guara, to steal back the Dragoon, and both players across the table pointing and laughing. It was a real kind of real person moment that was happening within the game. And I believe that was Gwent Open number 5. Andy actually went on to win that one. And that moment was just, it was outstanding. It was just a little bit more than just playing and concentrating and focus. There was just a moment of relief and laughter, even though it was a crucial play at the same time.
One of my favorite previous events was actually from the most recent Gwent Challenger number 4, and it was the final between Andy Wand and Demorkis, and it was the Skellige Mirror. And the way that the two of them, you could really tell the friendship, the way they kind of played, because they were playing similar decks, and you could see like one of them would play a Warcrier and the other would be like, what should I play? Aha, a Warcrier. And the kind of camaraderie and just kind of fun back and forth that you could see on the players. I think that is what Gwent esports is all about, and it's maybe not something that the viewers realize, but the kind of social side, the friendships, you see these players and the casters, I see them, regularly. We've met each other multiple times, and the friendships that build up, the kind of playing board games afterwards, hanging out in the hotel, that side of things is probably one of the most fun things about Gwent esports.
Well, Dandelion is great. I mean, he's my friend outside of work. We've met in I think we met at Gamescom for the first time. And when I met him and we started talking, and then we went to parties together and stuff like that. And then he joined GOG, what's even more funnier. And right now, we're like, when there's a slower day, we go out for a walk and we talk a lot. So for me, he's been a very good friend. He's supported me through tough times also. So it's someone who I can really call a friend. He's not only Dandelions, he's actually a real person. Although when you talk to him like on a daily basis, I can't really tell a difference because he's the same. Yeah, and he likes picking up girls too.